In this video, we're talking about AEW booking a dream match. Also, we got some news on PWG, and we got to talk about the ROH Hall of Fame because we now know who are the first inductees. If you guys want more wrestling news videos like this, don't forget to click that subscribe button, ring that bell. My name is Ango. I bring you the latest news in pro wrestling. But on top of that, I give you guys my opinions. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, but I'd love to hear what you have to say. So drop a comment down below. We're going to talk about the Briscoes because the Briscoes have been announced as the first inductees into the ROH Hall of Fame. This is really exciting news. The news dropped today from Ring of Honor. They issued a press release. And honestly, this makes a lot of sense when you consider ROH and their history with the Briscoes. The Briscoes have been doing great things with them. Now, keep in mind, if you haven't been watching indie wrestling, the Briscoes were the GCW Tag Team Champions. They lost those tag team belts to Matt Tremont and Nick Gage at GCW. But as it stands right now, the Briscoes could very well be going to AEW. There's rumors there. Then, of course, we got Supercard of Honor, which is taking place on the weekend of WrestleMania 38. So it's a very eventful year for the Briscoes, but they didn't get here out of nowhere. The Briscoes have been doing some really big stuff literally for like 20 years now, maybe even longer, honestly. And it's really interesting to me how, you know, and again, I really think the Briscoes being in the ROH Hall of Fame just makes so much sense. And there's so many other guys I want to see there. Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, you know, the list goes on, right? But when it comes to the Briscoes, they are arguably one of the best tag teams to never step foot in WWE. And I think that is really crazy to think about because WWE had interest in them, and then there was some controversies at one point, and then every time there were rumors that WWE would sign them, the Briscoes never did. And now we have this potential Briscoes FTR storyline that could be happening in AEW, which I just really hope it happens. But for some reason, I have a feeling like, I don't know if you guys saw the video I made about Tony Khan, but I talked about this. Tony Khan did everything but actually confirm that they were coming. And to me, when that happens, I think that's a situation where literally Tony Khan might be nervous to bring them in. And I don't know. I don't know what the situation is. I think the Briscoes are a great tag team, but also at the same time, too, I think FTR and Briscoes could very well be taking place at Supercard of Honor versus AEW. And if that's the case, that's the case. It's not a bad thing to happen. I think obviously that definitely helps out ROH in terms of putting together an actual like big time match. But also at the same time, too, it is a little bit shocking to me that AEW has yet to pull the trigger on bringing them in. But yes, the Briscoes are going to be in the ROH Hall of Fame. And yes, they are going to be the first inducted members of the Hall of Fame. As the ROH Hall of Fame continues to announce its inductees, I'll be bringing that information to you guys as well. It's going to be very interesting the next few months. But as you guys know, Supercard of Honor is going to be a big deal. It's happening during WrestleMania weekend. I'm very intrigued to see who might show up because AEW doesn't have a show during WrestleMania weekend, but AEW does have a lot of roster members that are former ROH stars, and some of those people could be inducted, and they might be able to show up as Supercard of Honor. You know, wrestling as a whole will be very interesting to watch the next few months. All right, guys, I do want to talk about PWG. I know I don't talk about PWG too often, but we did have the Best of Los Angeles 2022, and we now know Daniel Garcia, the AEW superstar, has won the tournament. This was a very interesting thing, too. I didn't get to watch PWG. Obviously, I was not there, anything like that. But I have heard so many great things about PWG this year, which is like a really good thing, obviously, due to COVID and just everything that's gone on in the last few years. I think it's really important for wrestling, for PWG specifically, to be, you know, still relevant and still doing big things. But I want to take a look specifically at Daniel Garcia because Daniel Garcia is this young kid who's making a name known for himself in AEW. He's one of the AEW Young Lions. And at this point, to me, Daniel Garcia is a future TNT champion. And you know, it's really insane to think that like Daniel Garcia and Bryan Danielson might be able to have a massive feud in AEW at some point. But the only way those types of feuds actually make sense is when you see this guy climbing the ranks. And AEW does not shy away from acknowledging what's happening outside of wrestling. And I think it's really important for the next time that Daniel Garcia shows up in AEW commentary. I don't care if it's Tony Schiavone, Excalibur, Jim Ross. Somebody needs to mention that Daniel Garcia won the PWG Bola 2022. And then I think the next logical step is to have this guy actually win the Owen Hart Cup tournament. There are a lot of people that should win this tournament, but I think it needs to be a star-making tournament. And I think, you add Daniel Garcia into the mix. That's my early prediction. It might change as time goes on, but if you add him into the mix, you put him in the tournament, you have him walk out of Double or Nothing 2022 as the Owen Hart Cup tournament finalist and winner. I think that is when you create a brand new superstar. That is when people will go absolutely through the roof for Daniel Garcia, and now you're looking at different accolades, right? So maybe by that point, he's held the TNT Championship, because you already know Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia, they're going to absolutely kill it, right? But you add TNT Championship, PWG Bola 2022, and then Owen Hart Cup tournament. Okay, what is next? Now you could start building towards Bryan Danielson. And we don't know how many years left Bryan Danielson has left in wrestling, so this is not something you could necessarily prolong. But I promise you, that would be a massive, massive, massive day. And guys, for our final story of today, Chris Jericho was on Freddie Prinze Jr.'s podcast, and he was talking about a dream match. And for some of us, we might not see this as a dream match because we followed the career of Chris Jericho. And I don't know if this is Chris Jericho trying to promote a match that might not actually be a dream match. I don't know. I can't sit here and tell you guys that it's a dream match to me, but I can tell you guys that I absolutely love what they've been doing together in storyline. So I want this match to happen, even if the match may not be this 5-star, crazy, incredible wrestling match. I like the promos. I like the back and forth. I like the character work behind it. We are talking about Chris Jericho having this dream match with Eddie Kingston. Now, basically, there was an excerpt that I really enjoyed from this. So Chris Jericho goes, there's one in reference to a dream match. One dream match that I'm looking forward to now that will happen is the story we're building with Eddie Kingston and AEW. That's a guy from day one. The moment he walked in, I said, that's a superstar. He's going to be a huge babyface. I like his style, and it's very hard-hitting. He doesn't look like a typical wrestler. He just looks like a tough guy at the bar, but his promos are above and beyond. That's why I kind of pick and choose who I'm going to be working with, and it also has to fit in with the plans Tony Khan has with and what the guys have. But the Eddie one is something really cool to me. I also deal in long-term stories, so nothing is set in stone, but that is one I'm really looking forward to that will happen. So, again, is this Chris Jericho overhyping a dream match for the sake of it? I don't know. The word dream match sometimes is used a little too loosely in pro wrestling, but even if this is not a dream match for you, this is a dream match for Chris Jericho. And if AEW books this match, I guarantee the build-up will get better and better. If they are truly forming this plan, I think it's going to get better and better and better. Because look at what we've seen so far with Proud and Powerful, Chris Jericho, 2.0, Eddie Kingston. This whole dynamic works. And, I understand Eddie Kingston is not this 5-star Dave Meltzer, the reviews aren't going to be this massive thing. And I don't really care about that. I've said that before. I'm all about characters. I'm all about storytelling. And to me, this match could underdeliver. But as long as they're not trying to do something that they shouldn't be doing, they will be fine. So what I mean by that, they don't need to be doing crazy stuff in the match. Tell the story in the ring. Get people emotionally drawn in. And to me, that would be successful. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time right here on Angle YT.